All right.
Yes.
Looks like
We're ready when you are, Chair Ledesma.
I am. Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for being on your computers and take your time to take this meeting and move forward. I would like to call the Board Administration and Operations Committee meeting order at 2 p.m. I'm sorry, 1 p.m. Thank you for joining the Board Administration and Operation Meeting Committee today, Wednesday, February 3rd, 2021. Before I begin with today's business, please ensure that you are in quiet environment with no background noise. Please mute devices and to call up and chair or clerk to speak. John, please read this special notice.
Yes. On March 4, 2020, Governor Newsom proclaimed a state of emergency in California as a result of the threat of COVID-19. Public gatherings are to be limited. Further, on March 18, 2020, Governor Newsom temporarily suspended the Brown Act requirements pertaining to telephonic conferencing of local government meetings and the requirement to have at least one physical location available to the public for the purposes of attending the meeting. As such, RTA has opted to conduct the February 3, 2021 Administration and Operations Committee meeting via teleconference.
Thank you, John. Let's start with self-introductions. Today's meeting will take roll call with the clerk. Please take a roll call. John.
Yes. City of San Jacinto?
Here.
City of Corona?
Here.
County of Riverside District 1?
Here.
County of Riverside District 2? City of Moreno Valley?
Here.
City of Murrieta? City of Riverside?
Here.
City of Temecula?
Here.
And Chair, you have a quorum. Members, please remember to remute your device.
Thank you, John. I would like to take attendance of RTA staff, please.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Larry Rubio?
Here.
Craig Fainer?
Here.
Tom Franklin?
Here.
Laura Camacho? Here. Rick Majors?
Here.
Kristen Warsinski?
Here.
Natalie Zaragoza?
She's joining us on YouTube, Joan.
Yes. Rick Kazarowski?
Here.
Jim Neepkins?
Here.
Charlie Ramirez?
Here.
Thank you, Chair Ledesma.
Thank you, John. Next, item 3 on the agenda, public comments, not agenda items. John, please read the directions for the public comments.
Yes. Members of the public may address the board regarding any item within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. However, no action may be taken on off-agenda items unless authorized by law. Comments shall be limited to matters not listed on the agenda. Members of the public may comment on any matter listed on the agenda at the time that the board considers that matter. Each person's presentation is limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. Chair Ledesma, I have received one request in writing from Keith White, who has asked his comments be read for him.
John, would you please mind to read that request?
Yes. Good afternoon, committee members. At the last RTA board meeting, I started to cry because of what Larry Rubio said about Vince Rousseau. Vince has a great sense of humor, and he and I always joked around for fun. He is a great guy and always has a positive attitude. I have been around RTA and riding the bus for a long time. I will surely miss Vince at these meetings. Please keep Vince in your prayers. Thank you for your time. Sincerely yours, Keith White, RTA bus rider.
Thank you, John. Appreciate your reading this comment, and comments are very important for all of us. That way, if there were no comments, then we have no idea of what's going on with our riders. Thank you once again. It is anyone else on the line that would like to make a comment on this item, on this agenda? John, is anybody online?
I do not see anyone else requesting to speak, Chair.
Okay, here no more. The public comments portion item listed of the agenda is now closed. Next item 4, approval of minutes of January 13, 2021, Administration and Operations Committee meeting. Does anyone have any comments? John, do I have to also ask if there's any phone calls or anyone on the line that would like to comment?
Not for the minutes, Chair Ledesma.
Okay. All right. Do I have a motion to approve?
Moreno Valley.
Second, Temecula. And Temecula. Thank you. Are there any noes? Are there any abstentions? Motion passed. Thank you. Next item, item number 5, consent calendar. All items on the consent calendar will be approved by one motion, and there will be no discussion on individual items unless board members or member of the public request to speak item to be pulled from the calendar for separate discussion. Does any committee member wishes to pull an item to discuss? Hear none. Does any of the public wishes to pull an item for discussions? Hear none.
I don't see anyone indicating.
Okay. Does anyone wishes to pull item for discussions from the staff members? No. Okay, let's move on to consent item number 8, 5A and 5E for receive and file. Next item number 6, approve revision of work compensation claim handling settlement authority policy. May I have Craig Fanger to present this item, please?
Great. Thank you, Chair Ledesma.
Thank
Members
you.
of the committee, good afternoon. My name is Craig Fainer. I'm the agency's Chief Financial Officer. The agency has been self-insured for workers' compensation insurance for 30 years, and our current self-insured retention is $750,000 based on annual actuarial studies. Coverage above the $750,000 SIR is provided by Public Risk Innovation Solutions and Management, or PRISM. At the board's October 2017 meeting, the board approved and adopted the Workers' Compensation Claims Settlement Authorization Policy. A policy authorized the committee to authorize claim settlements up to $100,000. The $100,000 is the signature authority limit of the Chief Executive Officer. The committee is made up of the Director of Risk Management, the Chief Financial Officer, and the Chief Executive Officer. Claims over $100,000, but less than the $750,000 self-insured retention would be authorized by the Board Executive Committee. And claims in excess of $750,000 are handled by the excess carriers contracted by PRISM. With the impending retirement of the current Chief Financial Officer, the agency's current controller will be promoted to become the new CFO. And the Risk Management Department will now report to the Chief Administrative Services Officer, or CASO, rather than the CFO. Based on this new structure, staff is requesting that the CASO position be added to the first-tier claims settlement committee. And if approved, that committee would be comprised of the Director of Risk Management, the Chief Financial Officer, the Chief Administrative Services Officer, and the Chief Executive Officer. The updated or draft workers' compensation claim settlement authorization policy is attached to the staff report with the changes I spoke of identified in bold, italics, and underlined text. There's no fiscal impact with this request, so the recommendation before you today is to approve and recommend this item to the full Board of Directors for their consideration as follows. To approve revisions to the workers' compensation claim settlement authorization policy to be effective February 25th, 2021. Chair Ledesma, that completes my presentation.
Thank you very much for your presentation. That was a great presentation. Now I'm going to ask if there's any questions from committee members of the item you just got presented. Here none. Are there any questions from the public? John? Anybody?
I have not received any requests in writing.
Great, thank you very much. Do I have a motion to approve?
Rta moves.
Second, Marina Valley.
Okay, Marietta and Moreno Valley. Are there any no's? Are there any abstentions? Okay, motion has passed. Thank you. Thank you, board. Let's move into item number 7, approved revision of liability claim handling and settlement authority policy. I'm going to go back to Craig again. I'm going to picking up on you today for the presentation.
Great, thank you again, Chair.
Thank you.
And good afternoon, committee members. The agency has been in a standalone arrangement for its liability insurance program going on 4 years. The total coverage under that policy is $25 million with a current $1 million self-insured retention or SIR. To address some impending organizational realignment, it is necessary to update the agency's liability claims handling and settlement authority policy to address those claims that fall within the self-insured retention. Similar to the previous item, at the October 2017 board meeting, the board approved and adopted a policy authorizing the risk management department staff to continue with handling claims against the agency and authorizing a committee to authorize claim settlement up to $100,000. Again, the $100,000 limit is the current signature authority limit of the Chief Executive Officer or CEO position. That committee is currently comprised of the Director of Risk Management, the Chief Financial Officer, and the CEO. Claims in excess of $100,000, but less than the $1 million SIR limit would be again authorized by the Board Executive Committee. And claims in excess of $1 million would be handled by the excess carriers under contract during the time of the claim. With the impending retirement of the CFO, the controller will be promoted to become the new CFO, and risk management will report to the Chief Administrative Services Officer rather than the CFO. Based on this new structure, staff is requesting that the Chief Administrative Services Officer position be added to the first-tier claims settlement committee. And if approved by the full board, that committee would be comprised of the Director of Risk Management, the CFO, the CASO, and the CEO. The draft liability claims settlement authorization policy is attached to the staff report with changes again identified in bold, italics, and underlined text. There's no fiscal impact with this request, so the recommendation before you today is to approve and recommend this item to the full Board of Directors for their consideration as follows. To approve revisions to the liability claims and lawsuit settlement authorization policy to be effective February 25th, 2021. Chair Ledesma, that completes my presentation.
Thank you very much, Craig. Once again, I'm going to ask for any questions from committee members. Hear none. I would like to see if there's anyone online from public who would like to ask a question. John, is anybody online?
I have not received any requests in writing.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve?
Corona move that motion.
Corona?
Yes, sir.
District 1, second.
Oh, District 1, second, for the records. Are there any no's? Are there any abstentions? Motion passed. Thank you. Next item, board members' comments. Any comments from director, board members?
Marina Valley.
Go ahead, David.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I want to just put out information that this coming Friday, we'll have a memorial at City Hall for our late, my late council member and good friend of mine. I apologize for that.
You're gonna get penalized, buddy. $10.
Memorial services will be at 10 o'clock at the Veterans Memorial Center at City Hall this Friday. It's open to the public, but we do ask that limited seating. The protocol will be the wearing of a mask and 6 foot distance. So if you want to attend, you don't have to make reservations. If you don't or can't attend, it will be streamlined through Facebook and also Media Channel 3. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Anybody else?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Andy.
I just want
Oh,
to.
I'm sorry, it's Scott.
I just want to apologize for my tardiness. I got a phone call that I had to take right before it started, so I apologize.
Not a problem. Go ahead. You need to do any announcements? Scott?
No, I just want to
Okay.
apologize for that. Thank you.
Andy?
Yes.
I see your face, your
Thank
hand
you.
raised.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much, Chair. Just a very quick reminder, obviously with the COVID matter, be extremely careful. I don't know if many of us have really taken into account just the city of Riverside's count, but we've had just about 45,000 infections, which is about 13% of our population, which means that almost 1 out of every 1 out of every 10 person, more than one out of every 10 person has had COVID. Our hospitalizations obviously are tremendous. They're not able to keep up. They've done makeshift ICU wards and also emergency treatment centers. So it is what we're seeing is that although there is a downside or coming down of the virus infections, it is still quite predominant. I know in the city of Riverside, just this past week, we had an additional 25 employees infected with the coronavirus. So, take extra caution out there. They are talking about double masking at this point because of the variant that is coming out. So we are very, very concerned in the city of Riverside. We have not had any city council meetings in our council chambers for at least the past month and a half. It's all been remote, and we continue to do that. But please execute extraordinary care when you're out there. We hope that we are now seeing some people that have had residuals, even though didn't require hospitalizations. We're seeing residuals in their health and possible that infection coming back again to haunt them. So please take extra care. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Andy. Anybody else? Go ahead, Gary.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to thank Craig Fainer, who has been just a huge asset to the Riverside Transit Agency. His shoes are going to be really hard to fill. He's been just an outstanding asset to the organization. I know when I've had questions, he's been able to shrink them down so that even I could understand them. So, Craig, I wish you all the best in the future. Wished you were staying here, but hopefully the organization will fill your shoes, but they're large shoes to fill. So thank you, sir. Back to you, Mr. Chair.
They are. Ms. Springle, right now, Director Springle, right now we're going into any reports. You have the opportunity now to do any reports if you have any. I see she just logged in, but maybe it's a fake picture. Can you hear me?
You talking to who, me?
Yes. You have any reports or comments?
Well, life right now is revolving on surviving COVID, as we all know. Vaccines came in. We're working down. I know that some of you who may fit in those categories in the tiers our focus is our elderly. We started with 85 and older. This next round will be 80 and older, and we're trying to get our seniors who are the most vulnerable. There is a Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which will be a 1 dose that looks like it's coming online in hopefully the end of this month, but you know how these work. We have no control over that. Things are going well. We did just receive our rental assistance monies from the federal government, and significant amount. And then there will be a second round with the state. The state will have some amounts coming in. We're in the middle of trying to decide how we're going to do this. The state is an 80-20, which means the landlord will have 80% and have to wait the last 20%. So far, we're not seeing anything on transportation, which is what I've been watching for RTA. We just definitely need to make sure we have the equipment, the means, and everything to keep this system. This is such a vital system here in Riverside County with RTA, and I'm just always trying to keep my ear to the ground to see what's coming next. But those are the main highlights. There's lots more going on, but I'm sure wherever your district is, your supervisor's keeping you in contact and up to date with all that keeps happening. It's very fluid, as you well know. You're having it with your cities, and it changes constantly, but we're going to get through this. We're at least seeing that light at the end of the tunnel.
Thank you, Director. Now let's move into Larry Rubio for announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sadly, I have to report one of our coach operators passed away yesterday. At this time, I can't reveal the cause of death. There are some HIPAA restrictions, so we're working with the attorney to see just exactly how much we can report. And I don't want to violate that HIPAA restriction, so I will probably send an email out to the board tonight to discuss that in more detail. And that concludes my reportable information at this point, Mr. Chairman.
Very, very, very sad report. Thank you. Please, I hope or I recommend you to send all of directors of this board our condolences to that family. Thank you, Larry. Okay, next meeting of the Board Administration Operations Committee is scheduled for Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021 at 1 p.m. February 3rd, 2021, Board Administration Operations Committee meeting adjourned at 1:22. Thank you all for logging in, and thank you for your valuable time, staff, directors, and all of us. Thank you once again. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Chair.